Johnny, Johnny, Johnny. I can't tell you how much I enjoy The Tonight Show. I especially love it on those rare occasions when you fill in for Joey Bishop. You know, Johnny, you provided the inspiration for the title of one of my films. One night in New York, I had a hotel room right next to yours. It was 2 a.m, and the walls were very thin. And I heard you tenderly utter to whomever it was you were with, "Hush, hush, sweet harlot." Oh, Johnny, if I were 30 years younger, you'd still be too skinny for me.
Ladies and gentlemen, two of NBC's finest, Martin Milner and Kent McCool.
We've been playing cops on television for the past 6 years, and it seems to me we should be able to do a little detective work and figure out by the process of elimination which one of these people is Johnny Carson.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Hey, how about the one in the beige dress?
No, I don't think Johnny Carson has a bosom. How about the black chick?
Oh, come on, Marty. Don't you know Mom's Mabley when you see her?
Hey, that guy looks familiar. Isn't he the one that makes up everything as he goes along?
That's President Nixon.
Who's that old black guy? I think he's a security guard. I think that was so funny. Now, wait a minute. I've seen that guy before. He's the world's greatest impressionist.
Oh, so that's Frank Gorshin.
It's between two guys. It's either the wino or the weirdo.
Well, you know, Marty, as Clark Gable said in Gone with the Wind, frankly,
I don't give a damn.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very funny man, Mr. Red Fox.
I must say this before I go any further. Johnny is partly responsible for me having my own show because, in a sense, he taught me how to act. Because when I'd come on his show, I had to act like I'd been to his house for dinner. What gets me is how they have a big show like Johnny Carson's and only spend $37 on the set. 2 crummy sofas. Looks like the back of a Greyhound bus. And believe me, I'm an expert on the back of buses. And do you ever see the way the dudes dress on that show? Ed McMahon looks like the funny papers after the kids read it. Doc Severinsen looked like a fire sale on a push cart. And Johnny dresses like a pimp on Sesame Street. I don't know why you laughing, Dean. Here's a guy who passes himself off as a great dresser. His tuxedo's so shiny, if he tears it, he's gonna have 7 years bad luck. But Johnny is operating under a handicap tonight. He's here without his token Irishman, Ed McMahon. That's Johnny's sidekick. Every time he gets to laugh, Johnny kicks him in the side. You know, Johnny, NBC practices discrimination. They only gave me a half hour to make a fool out of myself. They gave you a whole week. I knew white guys couldn't write for spooks.
the night is young. Jack Benny isn't. But he's really amazing. He pays no attention to birthdays. He just keeps going. Kraft was going to give him a show of his own, but he aged before the cheese did. Ladies and gentlemen, the Satchel Paige of the world of comedy, Mr. Jack Benny.
Thank you, Dean. Dean, I'd like you to know that I canceled a proctologist appointment to be here tonight. And I think I made a mistake. There's a half a minute's going to be cut already, but I know. Ladies and gentlemen, I must say it does seem strange to be on this dais honoring Johnny Carson, because only a few short years ago, I was his idol. And now he's my idol. And for some reason or other, it was more fun the other way. Now, personally, I find it difficult to say anything derogatory about Johnny, but I also find it difficult to say anything nice about him. If I were to make one cogent comment about Johnny, it would concern the remark he made to me lately about his show. Johnny said to me, "You know, Jack, millions of people lie in bed every night and watch me. And after I've entertained them for 90 minutes, they turn off the TV, and I'm the last face they see that night." Now, brother, how conceited can you get? I do wish, though, you would do one thing. After the show tonight, wash that gray out of your hair. You're not fooling anybody. Thank you very, very much.
Johnny, we've got a big surprise for you tonight. Backstage is the woman with whom you share your bed every night. But before we bring her out, we thought we'd bring out your wife. Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely and gracious Mrs. Johnny Carson.
Well, thank you very much, Dean. And Johnny, I'm your most recent wife, just in case. Johnny can be charming, and Johnny's tender. He's kind, he's thoughtful, and he's an extremely considerate man. And somehow I know that if I hang in there, he will be. That's all.
And now it's time to hear from our man of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny.
This has been quite an evening. It really has. And Dean, I think you did a great job as Master of Ceremonies. Those remedial reading classes really come along, don't they? Dean, as you know, this year changed the name of his show to the Dean Martin Comedy Hour, which is similar to such a change as the Forest Lawn Happy Burial Ground. God, I'm doing Rich Little. I hope I don't get you at home doing another one of my mannerisms, which is a little weird. So I really am flattered that Senator Barry Goldwater could be here tonight. He was the only Republican who was out on bail. But the senator may have to leave early tonight because he may be president at any moment. He's next in line right after Sammy Davis, Jr. But I thank you, Senator, for being here, and you were even funnier tonight than you were when you ran against Johnson. Now, Bob Newhart is a very good friend of mine, and whenever I'm stuck with a bunch of dull guests on The Tonight Show, I can always count on Bob Newhart to run right over and blend in. What a thrill it was to see Martin Milner here tonight. Martin's 50 years old, still playing juveniles. You can't tell where his freckles leave off and his liver sparks. Right. What else? All of those. And of course, I loved your routine with Kent McCord. You fellows have all the comedy timing of the Cuban invasion. And I think it was very nice of my ex-producer, Freddie DeCordova, to be here tonight. It's always wonderful to know that my career is in the hands of a man who directed such classics as Bedtime for Bonzo and Bonzo Goes to College. You should never trust a producer who has a tire hanging from a rope in his office. Dom DeLuise, cute, dimples, terrific smile, cheerful personality, and if ever I have a daughter, I hope she grows up to be just like you. Now, it's apropos that Red is here tonight because his ancestors originated the idea of roasting people. And what would a dais be without Jack Benny and George Burns? Awake, that's what. Jack wasn't himself tonight, I could tell, because he didn't laugh when George said good evening as he came in earlier. But it's great to have, really, these two great show business veterans. Veterans in show business parlance is a kindly euphemism for meaning they should be in a home. Not saying that Jack and George are out of touch, but they both think that uppers are dentures. And I will remember this evening, probably as long as it takes me to get to my car.
Master Dean Martin. And tonight's very special Man of the Week, Ed McMahon.
Yeah, sit down there. Mayor, tonight we're honoring my pal Ed McMahon. There's lots I can say about Ed McMahon, but there's a part of his life known only to a few of his friends. His record in World War II. Yeah, he's lucky he's here today. Every year, Ed sends a card to the Italian girl who hid him in the cellar during the war. Of course, she lived in Cleveland at the time. When the war looked bad for the Allies, Ed ran out, bought himself a gun, and did the only thing possible. He shot himself in the foot. That didn't fool his draft board. He was sent overseas and still bears a scar where cold steel pierced his skin. He sat on a corkscrew. There's a lot of your friends at Mars who couldn't be here tonight, but they sent a few wires, and I'd like to read some of them. Excuse my glasses, because I can't see anything. So, would you put this in my car? That's okay. Here's one from Johnny Carson, who can't be here tonight because he's working in Las Vegas. Dear Ed, I don't know what I'd do without you and your fantastic support. I think of you every time I wear it. This one's from your youngest son. Daddy, I think it's wonderful that you're being roasted tonight. Usually you come home stewed. Well, it's a pleasure introducing my next guest who's here to honor Ed, Mr. Pat Buttram. I'm sure you're all familiar with Pat. He's made hundreds of westerns. As a matter of fact, Pat just flew in from Texas, where he emceed a telethon for Saddle Rash. Ladies and gentlemen,